Welcome to the Guns and Noses podcast. My name's Helen Taylor and I am the owner of Guns and Noses. And I own 3 Labradors. We're here to talk about real moments, real lives, and the wins, the wobblers, and the occasional up yours moments. We're talking about those dogs with enthusiasm and us humans who are trying to keep up. So why don't you sit back, grab a brew, slow down, and listen in. Welcome back to the Guns and Noses podcast with me, Helen Taylor, and with my sidekicks, Jack, Red and Sky. I hope you've had a lovely weekend and that you managed to enjoy some of the sunshine that we had. Now, today's topic, I want to talk a little bit about teaching your dogs to do nothing. So, in previous podcasts, we have spoken about giving your dog a break during training sessions, which is really, really important. But this is slightly different. This is all about giving your dogs chance to understand that doing nothing is just as important as doing something. So when we pick up a puppy, we are told that we need to socialise our dogs, we need to teach them certain exercises by a certain point, which is all absolutely true, and it really is. So please don't take my words and make them into something that they're not, because they are absolutely true things. But when we talk about teaching our dogs to do nothing, what we are talking about is if we went to a cafe and we stopped, would our dogs be able to switch off and do nothing? If we were to go and sit on a park bench and sit and watch the world go by, would our dogs be able to do that as well? So we're not talking about teaching our dogs to settle and stay focused on you. We're talking about teaching our dogs to really settle. So this is what I actually call being on standby. So what that means is you sit down, your dogs lay down, they relax completely. So that's both physically and mentally. But then when you're ready to get up and move, they are also ready to get up and move. It's not that they are staying sat up, watching you, wanting to get lots of attention from you. They are laid down, relaxed. But then when you say, hey, come on then, let's go, they're happy to go. So if you've been a really dedicated dog owner and you've dived headlong into training your dog, training them to walk nicely, training them to recall, training them to do lots of different tricks, possibly even socializing them with all aspects of life. What might be happening is that your dog becomes overstimulated or frustrated, and then we end up with a dog who really can't switch off. Now, when our dogs are reliant on us for being told what to do, so in every given moment of life, when they are then left to do nothing, some dogs can't cope with that. So recently I've been working with an owner and her lovely dog, a black Labrador, who gets particularly overexcited in new situations. And she's always looking to her owner for information, which is brilliant because her owner is so dedicated and she totally understands her dog to the nth degree. She is very in tune with her dog. But one of the problems is that when her owner isn't giving her information, this dog doesn't know what to do. And this is the art of teaching your dogs to switch off when there isn't necessarily something to do. So let's take an example. You could be walking down the street and you come across somebody that you know that you'd really like to have a chat with. And you stop to have a talk, but your dog might start barking at you. They might start pulling on the lead. They might just not sit still. So they're just sort of wiggling around at the end of the lead. Now, these are the prime example times that we would really like our dogs to just go, oh, okay, right, we're just going to do nothing for a moment and be okay with it. Now, a way to teach our dogs to be like this is when we get them on the lead and we've maybe been for a little bit of a walk, we just stand still. We just take a moment to pause and reflect. So unlike the break that I was talking about in a couple of episodes that we've just had, this is very different. This isn't giving your dog something to do during those moments. This is just teaching them to go, and to just sigh and switch off for a moment. So going back to this little dog that I was talking about, when she isn't being interacted with, she finds her own stuff to do. And this is a dog with a very busy brain, with a very active mind, and her body definitely wants to follow. So one of the things that we did not so long ago in a private lesson was we went out for a walk, and it was an on-lead walk. It wasn't an off-lead walk. It was an on-lead one. And periodically we just stood and started chatting to each other. And the dog wasn't quite sure how to take this. It was like trying to get her attention. She was nudging her hand. She was going between her legs, doing a middle. And this isn't what we wanted. We wanted the dog to just settle in her mind and in her body. So when we were rewarding the dog for moments of settling, we were looking at all different aspects of the dog. We were looking at her breathing pattern. So believe it or not, when you are rewarding your dog, you can be rewarding for a whole element of different things. Not just the behaviour that you want to see, but the biological effects that are happening at the time. So if your dog is particularly excited and they are breathing quite rapidly and they are on high alert, then we can also be rewarding them for the emotional moment and mindset that they are in. So the things that we were looking at were her breathing. We were looking at the speed as to which she was moving within that moment. So what I'm talking about there is, even though we were stood still, the dog's head was flipping from side to side, looking at everything that was in the environment. So the birds in the sky, the leaves that were blowing, anything that was kind of going on. And I wanted her owner to be really aware of the things that she was rewarding. So even though the dog was sitting still, the dog was very much switched on. So we started looking at rewarding for lower breathing patterns. We started looking at her moving not so fast. And after a moment or two, she started to relax. And then what we got a big exhale. And the big exhale is a real poignant moment for teaching a dog to settle and switch off. That's the... And when we get that, we know that they've released some tension within their body. We know that they have started to think a little slower. And these are all the things that we are looking for when we are teaching our dogs to do nothing. As part of your reflection for this week, when you are out with your dog, I would like you to just go and sit on a bench or sit on the wall outside your house and watch your dog's reaction. Do they fiddle about and mess about at the end of the lead? Or do they just, if they're small, come and sit on your knee and watch the world go by? Or if they're a bigger dog and they can't actually fit on your knee, Do they sit by your feet? Or do they lay down and really start to relax their full bodies? And if our dogs can do this, this is a really important skill. It means that they are comfortable in their environment and their surroundings, and they are taking the lead from you as their handler. So I'd really like you to go out and watch this part of your dog this week. And if they can't do that, I would really like you to go and do more of that so that we're teaching them that doing nothing is absolutely okay. That there isn't always a job to be done. That there isn't always something to do. And once we can start teaching our dogs this skill, they will really start to settle, to relax, to be okay in that nice parasympathetic nervous system, even when they are within an environment that could be really stimulating. But where I don't want you to go and sit is in a park where there's lots and lots of dogs running around and having a wonderful time, because there's every chance that your dog won't settle in that moment if they struggle with actually doing that. Thank you once again for listening to the podcast, the Guns and Noses podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do share it with a friend or share it with somebody who you know may need to hear this. But remember, you're not alone. I am always here, so you can reach out at any time. And coming soon is the Insiders Club. And I'm going to be looking for 30 founding members who get an absolutely amazing discount. And if you would like to be a founder member of the Guns and Noses Insiders Club, then you can drop me a message, you can leave a comment, or you can direct message me. Not a problem, any of those ways. But for now, thank you for listening. Keep training kindly and try and keep up. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's episode helped you slow down, feel seen, or think a little differently about your dog, then it's done its job. Remember, progress isn't about perfection, it's about observation and reflection. You're not behind, you're not failing, and you're definitely not alone. Until next time, keep training kindly and try to keep up.